Everybody, it is time for the offseason. We're coming off a play-in tournament loss. We did not make the playoffs. We did make the postseason, but we failed to get past the initial play-in tournament as the 7th seed. Now we find ourselves heading into our first real offseason. Today, tough choices will be made. We're going to be drafting. We're going to be signing free agents. We're going to be looking at player progression, looking at who we can bring onto this team that can make a real difference. But we are also losing a lot of players who have played a role on this team, but we have to accept that fact as an expansion team and kind of rebuild this team from the ground up, and that starts with the NBA draft. With that being said, every player that has a number in this column is somebody who is likely going to be on the team next year, minus PJ Tucker. We still have Landry Shamet, Alex Caruso. We have team options for Taurean Prince and John Wall. Going to bring those two guys back most likely. And then also Pat Bev and Mason Plumlee, who we did extend during the year. But anybody who is not on this list that has a number there, they are not going to be on the team unless I choose to bring them back in free agency. With that all out of the way, let's get started. Retirements: Udonis Haslem, LeBron James the GOAT, Carmelo Anthony, Joe Johnson, Iggy, Kyle Lowry, Rudy Gay, Aldridge, Horford, Rajon Rondo, Dragic, Jeff Green, and more. Oh, Joe Ingles is done. That makes sense, I guess. Your Hall of Famers this year are, of course, LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony. Retired jerseys: LeBron's got one for the Heat, one for the Cavs, and one for the Lakers. That makes sense. Kyle Lowry for the Raptors, that makes sense. And Carmelo for Denver, that also makes sense. The draft lottery, here we go. We actually have pick 15, I guess. Maybe it changed, but we have a chance to get a higher draft pick than we currently have. It was 18 last time I checked, but I guess we have 15 now that I've simmed a bit ahead. But let's see if anything different happens here. It's the Rockets, Woodsmen, Timberwolves, Bulls, Thunder, Kings, Pacers, Raptors, Jazz, Sound, Clippers, Spurs at 5, Thunder at 4, Hawks at 3, Nets at 2, Magic at 1. Let's see if anything different happens here. It usually does. The Woodsmen with pick 15 will stay there. So we have pick 15. Gonna trade up a couple of spots here with PJ Tucker, most likely not into the top 10 per se, but probably like pick 12 or 11. Ooh, the Kings have jumped up to the top 4. They were supposed to have pick 11. It goes to Indiana instead. The Raptors stay at 10. All right, 5 teams left. The Wizards will jump to the top 4. The Rockets down to 5. They have, I believe, had the second best chance at 2. They have 2 lottery picks here, obviously. The Wizards are at 4. So the Hornets will have pick 3. And the Kings, no way. The Kings will have pick 2. Jumping up all the way from, what was it, 14th to pick 2. And the Magic, of course, will have the first overall pick. They took Paolo last year, and they have another chance again. So we end up with pick 15. And here is the entire first round in terms of what team is picking where. Okay, so we currently have 17 out of 17 staff members. I don't see myself firing anybody right now. I'm cool with who we got. Our head coach is not bad. Actually, he is 1.5 stars. But I mean, we did make the play-in tournament as an expansion team, so I'm actually kind of cool keeping him here for now. I'm not gonna let just the stars there kind of change my tune. So I'm cool with who we have right now. I want to keep this very large scouting department and pour money into that. I think we are good to go from here. Well, folks, just like that, we are at the draft. I'm going to send the first 10 picks and then probably go for a trade into pick 11 or 12. I have an idea of who I want to take, but I want to get to that spot before I actually look more in depth at a couple of prospects. But I do have my eye on 2 guys. So first overall pick is the Magic. They will take Ryan Baker, the guy who's going to be like an 80 overall with not much more potential beyond that. Center out of Alabama goes first overall. The Kings with pick 2. They take Ron Baxter, small forward out of Florida. Pick number 3 for Charlotte. They take Wendell Anderson, power forward 6'10" out of Xavier. The Wizards with pick 4 take John Watts, a guy that had like A+ potential. He's going to be very, very good for them. The Rockets with pick 5 take small forward Ray Harris out of LaSalle. The Spurs have pick 6. They select point guard Larry Bowman out of Gonzaga. The Thunder take Henrik Eklund at 7th overall out of Sweden. The Sound have pick 8. They will draft Artie Tyler, who does have some ankle injury concerns that I found out via the pre-draft workouts. The Jazz with pick 9 take point guard Johan Larsson, who I thought was supposed to go top 5, top 6. He drops a bit here and they get kind of a steal pick perhaps. But now pick 10, the Raptors. They select shooting guard Evan Marshall, and he's out of Purdue. So I will pause here, and I will try and trade up to pick 11 or 12 and see what happens. So the Pacers have pick 11. They also have pick 26 this draft. So going to try and trade PJ Tucker and our first to trade up a couple of spots. Let's see if they take this. They say no. I'm going to tack on a 2025 second round pick and see if this gets it done. And they say yes. Okay, I'll take that. That was our second round pick 2 years from now. So we, of course, are on the clock here at pick 11. And the two guys that I'm kind of choosing between are Horace Rivers and Bryant Lambert. Wasn't sure if they would drop to us at pick 15, so I wanted to go up a couple of spots. And here we are. These guys have the same potential, both in the aggregates and from what our own scouts tell us. They have similar rebounding, playmaking, defense, three-point, and mid-range. Lambert is better inside. He also has better defense outside. His IQ is lower. His physicals are lower. And in my opinion, inside scoring can be easily worked on. Physicals and IQ are much harder for me to tone up. In college, Rivers averaged 20 points per game, 8.7 boards per game, 3.4 assists per game, 1.4 steals, 1.4 blocks, only shot 37% across 34 games, and 33% from beyond the arc. So that is concerning, the field goal percentage here. And I did notice in his tendencies that he does like to shoot contested mid-range jumpers, as you can see down here. A 59 rating compared to 11, which is the position average in the NBA, which we have seen this kind of thing prevalent in a lot of power forwards in the draft classes in my previous series. This is not an uncommon thing, and that is worrisome because, again, contested shots are not going to drop that often. In comparison, Bryant Lambert also takes spot-up shots in the mid-range area and also takes the contested mid-range shots as well, just not as much as Horace Rivers, but he also takes contested threes a lot more. Bryant Lambert, by the way, scored more points, had similar boards and assists and steals and blocks. He did shoot a bit better than Rivers from pretty much all three spots on the court. So he is probably a better offensive player right off the bat. He has a ceiling of all-star, promising shot blocker and defender, all-star someday, defensive presence down low, poor offensive anticipation, bad plays from time to time, small lift on a shot, slow and clunky. Meanwhile, Rivers has an all-NBA ceiling. He boxes out well and finds a way to pull down difficult boards. He is a reliable scoring option when posting up, has a knack for blocking shots, and is a good defender down low, and he has a lot less weaknesses than Lambert does. So his only problem is that he can't really beat guys off the dribble, but he's a power forward, so he won't be doing that often. Again, the concern here is that contested jump shot. But if we can draw a place for him that give him open jump shots, then he'll take those a lot less. And so my goal here is to probably take him and kind of tailor the playbook around him more so, and run plays more often to get him open shots as compared to just running some like random plays where he just has the ball in his hands and tries to make his own shot happen. I think he's a better prospect than Lambert is. They're very, very similar, but I do think that I can make it work. He won't be great in his first year most likely, but his potential, his current ability, I think is there. Him and Lambert are the only two guys that have a potential that are left here. And I think that I just like them more than the current guys left here. So I'm going to take Horace Rivers with this pick. Horace Rivers out of Evansville. Welcome to Vancouver. Zach Harper says questions are surrounding Kevin Love's impending free agent status and whether or not he will re-sign. Guess what, he won't. Regardless of the outcome, I really like Horace Rivers and his long-term outlook as an NBA prospect. I hope you're right, Zach. I hope you're right. All right, so we got that out of the way. That was a pretty big move. He was our very, very first draft pick. I hope that he can be special. Meanwhile, pick 12 belongs to the Detroit Pistons, and they will trade this pick right after we did. We had the first trade of the entire draft. They will trade this pick and a second next year for Terry Rozier and a 2027 first round pick from Charlotte. So Charlotte trades up in the draft and they take Sasa Pevic out of Slovenia. They already had pick 3, and now they trade up or trade into the first round once again to get a center. Pick 13 for Portland. They take point guard Andrea Rancati out of Colorado, a 5'11 point guard. I did this exact same thing last series as my first pick in the series, and it was a terrible choice. They are screwed. Pick 14 for Minnesota. They take shooting guard Terry Perry out of Loyola Chicago. The Pacers with pick 15 after the trade. They take Bryant Lambert. Okay, so we probably could have gotten Rivers or Lambert, but I just like Rivers more as a later down the road prospect. But we will have to kind of compare their careers as we move along here in this series. Wow. The Rockets, pick 16, take small forward Lee Leiden out of Nebraska. The Suns, pick 16, they take point guard Herbert Green, 6'4", out of Marquette. The Knicks, pick 18, they take center Charlie White III. I did like him as a center, so we'll see how he does in his career. Pick 19, small forward Clay Cook. I thought about taking him as well. Ultimately chose not to because his potential was much lower than Horace Rivers was, but I guess we'll see the actual stats on that after the draft is over. The Clippers, pick 20, point guard Vlado Tomasevic out of Serbia, 6'1" point guard. The Thunder, pick 21, they take shooting guard Quinn Baldwin out of St. Mary's. He's 6'6", so pretty tall for his position. The Pelicans take center Otis Morris Sr., a 7'2" guy out of USF. The Nets, pick 23, power forward Lenny Weaver out of Duke, 6'10" guy. We'll see if that Blue Devil can live up to his expectations. The Thunder once again are up on the clock, and they will trade this pick to the Hornets. What? The Hornets trade up to get Sasa Pevic, then trade back with Pevic to get this pick. What in the world is that? And they take power forward Dion Rhodes. I don't get that. 2K is whack sometimes. The Magic back on the clock. They take point guard Herman Pollard out of Indiana State. So 2 first-round picks for them this season to add with Paolo Banchero and Suggs and all those guys over there. The Pacers will take power forward Robin Underwood out of Marquette. The Knicks pick 27. They take point guard Enrique Rivera out of Argentina, 6'1". We'll see if he can rise above his height. The Sixers pick 28. We'll trade this pick and a second 4 years down the line for Cody Martin and Duncan Robinson from who? The Hornets. They're making some moves. They take small forward Jordan McLeod out of TCU. That is 3 trades in this first round for the Hornets after already having the 3rd overall pick. Wow. The Lakers now on the clock. Pick 29, power forward Sam Harvey out of Colorado State. 6'9" guy. The Celtics pick 30. Point guard Lambros Durakis out of VCU. He's 6 foot. We'll see if he can do well. The Hawks pick 31, penultimate pick of this first round. They take small forward Theo Evans out of College of Charleston. The last pick of this first round belongs to the Golden State Warriors. What do? They will pick power forward Carl Finley out of Pepperdine. So, the first round is over. Mark Tatum takes over. We head into the second round. We will flash ahead to our pick. I'm not going to trade it for this pick. We'll see what drops to us there. So we're currently on the clock. We only have a couple of guys that I have fully scouted here, but we do have Ralph Tavares, a 73 overall guy, same overall apparently as Horace Rivers. He's 22 years old, 6'8". He can actually score quite a bit. Defense is not terrible. He's got B- potential. His IQ is actually not too bad for a prospect in the second round. He's a good athlete. I like him. There's also Anderson Carr, who is a 65 overall. B+ potential though, so something is there. We've got center Frank Manning, B- inside scoring. Defense is not a strong suit for him. He also has B+ potential. Okay, better than Ralph Tavares. Then we got Omar Azet, who I believe I did talk about a bit in the draft board video a couple of episodes back. He's got B+ potential. 70 overall. Good athlete. IQ is not bad at all. Defense is already pretty solid and can definitely get better over time. And I think there's not really a spot in his game besides maybe like rebounding that is bad. I think I want to take him just based off of that info alone. So we'll take Omar Azet, and he might actually get some playing time. Well, I love seeing that. Zach Harper says that Azet loves to gamble by going for the reach-in steal often. His tenacity on defense will make him an instant asset for the Woodsmen. Hey, I'm trying to go for more of a defensive team here. That will help. We have finished the draft, and here is the draft summary. Again, Ryan Baker went 1st overall. He's an 80 overall as of right now, and I'm more so trying to look for his potential here for most players. Just trying to see who could be a really good player in the future. He's got B+, so he actually will get better, probably up to high 80s, I would say. So actually a pretty good pick there by the Magic. They don't really miss on their 1st overall picks when they have them. Then Ron Baxter, he has A- potential. Okay, that's pretty solid. Wendell Anderson from the Hornets, B+, same as Ryan Baker. John Watts, this was the guy that was supposed to have A+ potential, and he does have A+, but this guy might be the GOAT in a couple of years in terms of this draft class's GOAT. That is possible. Ray Harris at pick 5 has B+ potential, so no like bad picks here, I would say. Larry Bowman, B+. Henrik Eklund at pick 7, he's got B, so probably the first guy that has lower than a B+ here. Artie Tyler, who has those injury concerns, A- potential. Johan Larsson, pick 9. He's got A- potential. Evan Marshall, the pick before us, he has B+ potential. Now we got Horace Rivers, who is a 73 overall, 19-year-old, no badges as of right now, and definitely can work on his inside scoring for sure. Gonna hone in on that for training. Post defense and boards are looking pretty solid there. And he's got A potential. The scouts were right. That is very promising. Extremely, extremely promising. That's what I wanted to see right there. we probably have a really good player here on our hands if we can avoid the contested jump shots. Sasa Pavic, pick 12. He's got B+ potential. So one guy so far has had less than a B+. Andrea Rancati, he's got B+ potential as well. Terry Perry, pick 14. He's got B potential. The second guy after Eklund, who does not have B+ or higher potential. Now Bryant Lambert, who is a very similar guy as to Horace Rivers, he's got A potential as well. These guys could be rivals at their position the rest of their careers. It's very possible. Lee Lydon, pick 16. He's got B potential. Pick 17, Herbert Green. He's got B potential. Charlie White III, pick 18. B+ potential. Clay Cook at pick 19. B+ potential. Tomasevich at pick 20. B+. Quinn Baldwin at pick 21. B. Otis Morris at pick 22. B. Pick 23, Lenny Weaver. B. Deion Rhodes, pick 24. B+. Pick 25, Herman Pollard. B. Pick 26, Robin Underwood. B. Rivera at pick 27, B-, which was the lowest so far. McLeod at pick 28, B+. Sam Harvey at pick 29, B. DeRakis at pick 30, B+. Theo Evans at pick 31, B+. And the last pick of this first round, Carl Finley at pick 32, B potential. I'm not going to show all the guys from the second round. I will show our pick, of course, and I'll also look for guys who might have some high potentials there as well, and I'll show them too. So pick 7 of the second round went to the St. Louis Sound, and they drafted Antonio Garner, who does have A- potential, so a good pick by them. I did look at him before I drafted our guy, but I like our guy better. But not a bad pick by the Sound. Mac Vincent, the very next pick for New York, has B+ potential. Simon Perry, who I thought about taking, has B+ as well. Bill Hunt for the Kings has B+. Junior Tinsley of the Timberwolves has B+ as well. He was drafted at pick 15 in the second round. Eduardo Diaz, another Knicks pick here this round that has B+ potential. Then our pick, Omer Azette, pick 19, and he's got B+. I will take that all day long. Nobody else, the rest of the draft had higher than a B potential. So here we go, rookie signing. We're going to assign both people to this deal. Not sure why they would want us to decline that second round guy, but welcome to the team, Horace Rivers and Omer Azette. Now we have team/player options, and actually, I think I'm going to decline the one for Taurean Prince and to see what we have available to us. I will, of course, accept John Walls because he was fantastic for us. So Taurean Prince might return, he might not. We'll see how things go. We have reached day 1 of moratorium, and James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Chris Middleton, Kristaps, and more are available. I will say one thing. For this series, I'm trying to avoid making these massive blockbuster signings or these massive blockbuster trades. I'm trying to develop guys within. So I'm trying to avoid signing these superstar players like Harden and Kyrie unless they were already on our team prior to that. So I'm probably not going to sign anybody above like an 84 overall, but I will try and sign a couple of players that are in that kind of range that also fit our scheme. I will also say that I will try and start Rivers because starting players in their first year is so key to their potential and to their own personal current development that having him come off the bench is not going to be enough. So I'm probably not going to be signing a starting power forward here. I will sign probably a backup though. In fact, I'm going to have to. We also don't need a starting point guard. We could probably just go for shooting guards because Pat Bev can act as a point guard. I might trade Landry Shamet perhaps. So Shamet is actually a shooting guard, but he's making $10 million to probably come off the bench. So I might trade him. And that would also kind of open the chance for a Zet to play. He's a 6'6" shooting guard. And so that could be a good advantage for him. And I do want to give him some playing time despite being a pretty low overall. So I think I trade Shamet, give a Zet probably the 9th or 10th spot in the rotation, probably get another backup shooting guard to go along with that. But I want someone better than Shamet provides. So most of these trade offers for Shamet are kind of insane. Like this first round pick from the Bulls, I think is a bit too much for Shamet. Plus the second round pick too, but I think that's a little bit too much for Shamet. So I'm going to try and find something else. This Cavs pick, or this Cavs offer is kind of similar. So I'm trying to avoid some crazy offer. Now this one for Terrence Mann, I think might be your best option. He's got a very similar salary. He's a better player at the same age. And I think he's just better. There's also Walker Kessler, but I don't think the Jazz would actually do this trade in real life. So not going to do that. I might do this Kings trade though. I think this makes the most sense. A first round pick, tiers in the future, top 3 protection. I think I'll just do this one. So let's just make this trade, and Shamet's gone. So we have $81 million in cap hold and $15 million in cap room. So whoever is showing up here are guys that are going to fall within our cap room, not our cap hold. I will get rid of the cap hold once we get through moratorium, but I will try and offer a couple of players. So here I'm looking for a guy that can kind of fit within our defensive system and also provide better offense than Will Barton was able to give us. So I kind of like DiVincenzo or Harris here, despite DiVincenzo not being a great shooter. I think he's better, but Gary Harris wants a lot less money for kind of similar production, and he's a pretty good defender both inside and out. So I'm going to offer him a very cheap contract to be a backup shooting guard, perhaps. So now for small forwards, we don't have one on the roster. And again, I'm trying to avoid signing Chris Middleton or RJ Barrett despite him being restricted. But I do kind of like Josh Richardson because he's got a 76 overall. He does fit our system pretty well. He wants a pretty cheap amount of money. He can shoot from all 3 spots on the court, and he's a very good defender. I think he's a good option. I would sign a Wiggins, but I'm trying to avoid signing the same kind of guys that I signed in the last series because he was on the scouts for a while. So I'm going to avoid that, but I also kind of like Cam Reddish. I think that he probably does deserve a better role because the Knicks just did not play him. So I feel like he could be a good guy to add as well, but I'm going to offer here Josh Richardson. I feel like he's a pretty solid veteran to add to the team, and he wants a pretty cheap deal, so we'll offer this to him. And I'll also go to Cam Reddish and offer him one as well. He is restricted, but I doubt they'll match it, to be honest. And I think he can probably progress into a better player in the end as well. So I like going more younger here and also having kind of similar production as to the veterans that we had last year. So I'll lower this offer a little bit and give him this much money. We have no more offers to give for day 1, and we're going to renounce the rights to Kevin Love, Will Barton, Taurean Prince, JaMychal Green, Drew Eubanks, Gabe Vincent, and Markieff Morris, and Harris, Richardson, and Reddish all apparently agreed to their deals. But we have to get through the entire moratorium to actually have those take hold. And the Knicks do match the offer sheet for Cam Reddish, so he won't actually be joining us. So more small forward talk now. Who do we go after this time? I don't want Danny Green. Dylan Brooks could be an option. Andrew Wiggins still there, but he wants Kevin Love money, which we do have quite a bit of money to spend here. We don't have to use all of it. There is DeAndre Hunter, who is also restricted, so he'll probably have that matched by the Hawks. But I kind of want to see if they do match it. So I'll go a bit above Reddish because I think he's probably a better player. and we'll see if we can get him. In case we don't get him, I will also offer somebody else that can be kind of a similar player. There is Chetty Osman here, who's a pretty good role player for the Cavs, also a good defender. Shooting is not bad at all. I think I like him as well. I think I'll go Chetty Osman here. 2-year deal, about $5 million per year. Now for centers. Here, I kind of want to find a guy that can be the starter so Plumlee can come off the bench. And I really like Miles Turner or Steven Adams. These guys are both really good defensive players. And Turner, I think, just overall is a lot better than Adams is, especially offensively. Can give a new element to our team on both ends of the court. And he wants $20 million. We have money to spend. I'm down to offer him if we can do this. 3-year deal, $20 million. And now we are out of offers for this day. So we have a couple of agreements here. Both Hunter and Osman agree. I want to try and push this through, but I think that they're going to match DeAndre Hunter's offer sheet. We'll see what happens. And they do. So I think I have made all the offers that I actually want to here, because I do want to start John Wall. I think he's worth starting. And I want to see if we can actually get all these guys signed here on day 3 and then do some more moves in the actual open free agency. So let's go ahead and advance. And Harris, Richardson, Osman, and Miles Turner are going to agree to their contracts. So let's push everything through. So now we have Miles Turner, John Wall, Pat Bev, Caruso, Richardson, Osman, Plumlee, and Gary Harris, and of course, Horace Rivers. There are a lot of guys that could get playing time. It's going to be tough to choose who is going to be the odd man out here, but we still have about $61 million of cap room to make our last couple of signings here. By the way, who signed where? Well, Kyrie has gone to the Houston Rockets on a 3-year, $140 million deal. James Harden returns to Philadelphia, 5 years, $248 million. Chris Middleton heads to Orlando. Wow, what a signing by them. 4 years, $132. They're going to be a pretty decent team over there in Florida. Kristaps heads to San Antonio, 4 years, $136. RJ Barrett gets the same deal from New York. Andrew Wiggins returns to Golden State, 3 years, $80 million. Christian Wood returns to Dallas, 4 years, $98 million. Jordan Poole returns to Golden State, 3 years, $92. Tyler Hero returns to the Heat, 5 years, $180. Draymond Green goes to the Detroit Pistons, 3 years, $73 million. Fred VanVleet returns to Toronto, 4 years, $87 million. Nikola Vucevic heads to Charlotte, 3 years, $82 million. Miles Bridges goes to Washington. There's Miles Turner's deal. Jeremy Grant heads to Portland, which I think he was already there after the trade. Derrick Rose back to Chicago. Brook Lopez back to Milwaukee. Dinwiddie back to the Wizards after a stint there with the Mavericks. And here are a couple of other signings. So who's available? You got Steven Adams, Mike Conley, Kyle Kuzma, D'Angelo Russell, Kevin Love, who wants a lot less money now, Dylan Brooks, Josh Hart, Harrison Barnes, Cameron Johnson, and more. Again, we have $61 million in cap room, so we don't need to spend that. We don't need to make any big signings, but if they improve our team, then why not? We also could sign a pretty good power forward to back up Horace Rivers. In fact, that's the first order of business here. Not going to sign Isaac because he's not going to play ever again in real life, most likely. He hasn't played for like 3 years. So one player that I do kind of want to get actually is Cam Johnson because of his three-point shooting ability. He has 2 offers right now. One's $14 million. The Suns may or may not match the offer sheet, but I will offer him a contract here. He does not match our system whatsoever, but we need guys who can shoot threes, and he is one of them. So I'll offer him this deal. He will come off the bench behind Rivers, of course, but we're going to offer him that and see what happens. And Cam Johnson elects to return to Phoenix, so we don't get him. And there is Kuzma, but he's not a great three-point shooter. I might come back to him, though. Now, there is Bruce Brown, who can knock down shots. He plays defense pretty well. There's no real spot in his game where he's bad. I think I like him more than Kuzma because of that three-point ability, so I will make an offer for him. He owns around 6.5 mil. And on day 4, Bruce Brown does sign his deal. That makes it 11 players on the roster. I think we need 13 or 14 before... Or no, we need like 14 or 15 before we can actually wrap up these signings here. So I'll look for more guys to add to the team. We still have a lot of cap room left. So as of right now, small forward and power forward are the weakest spots on this team. But we kind of expect that with Rivers being our main focal point at power forward. So I could bring in somebody else as well at small forward, but again, some of these guys just won't be able to make the actual team in terms of playing time because we have so many guys that we got to give minutes to. So we're going to have probably a couple of 76s that aren't going to even play. But we have money to spend, so why not bring in guys that could be good backups in case someone gets hurt, right? So I think I am kind of intrigued for, Oladipo. Really good defender, playmaker, good physicals, can knock down shots too. I think I'm down to also give him a contract. As for power forward, let's bring in Jay Crowder as well. Get a third guy in there that can compete for a spot. He can hit down threes and play some good defense too. I'll get him a 1-year deal as well. And then for point guard, I want to bring in one more guy to be kind of a backup there. Chris Dunn is a really good defender who can get lots of steals for us. And he's not too bad offensively. More of a playmaking point guard on both ends of the court. Wants about 3 mil. I'll offer him a contract as well. And for him, he's 29. So I'm kind of down for a 2-year deal to be a guy that comes out of the reserves. Oladipo and Dunn will accept their offers. And on day 6, Jay Crowder signs as well. So we have 14 players on roster, still $35 million in cap room. But for me, I think that's all that I actually want to do. Because we don't need to spend all this money and tie ourselves up in terms of possible trades during this season. And I like who we have in terms of guys who are going to get playing time on the court. So right now, we have Miles Turner, John Wall, Pat Bev, Oladipo, Caruso, Bruce Brown, Richardson, Osman, Crowder, Plumlee, Gary Harris, Chris Dunn, Horace Rivers, and Omer Azet. 14 players, and there are a lot of lineup options here, but we got a bit younger, and I think we also got better because some of these guys could actually kind of improve this next year or so. I am comfortable in this spot because I don't think we got worse. So I think that I'm good here. I hope you guys are too. I hope I didn't, blow anybody's expectations out of the water in terms of like not doing something. But I think that I am kind of okay where we're at. I don't see a reason to bring in Russell. I don't think he'll change anything for us. There's nobody here that I think will affect the team in a really big positive way. So I think I'm good chilling here. So a few more deals here. Adams goes to Detroit, 3 years, $47 million. Conley goes to the Sound, 2 years, $36. Kyle Kuzma also heads to the Sound, 3 years, $53 mil. And Kevin Love heads to Indiana, 2 years, $28. Harrison Barnes heads to the Cavs, and Josh Hart also heads to the Pacers. Dylan Brooks goes to the Sound, and Gary Trent Jr. goes over to Utah. So player progression, and this is what I was worried about. I don't know why the kit tells us this before we actually make signings, but Wall gets worse, Beverly gets a bit worse, Jay Crowder goes down by 1, Caruso got a lot worse, so now we're actually kind of thinking about point guard again because of that. Plumlee goes down by 3, you're kidding me. I did not expect that. Oh man. So this does present the idea that if these guys aren't playing as well as they were last year, that we do consider making a trade of some kind for a starter or a really important role player. That is now on the table here. I totally blanked on the amount of regression that our veterans would receive. I didn't think it would be this bad. That takes us to the All-Star City selection, which is Memphis, Tennessee, our rival city. That takes us to the schedule for next year, and we open the season on October 24th against our rivals, the Memphis Grizzlies, who did take us down in that first play-in game. What an opening night game against a team, and it's going to be in Vancouver as well, a rematch at home against the former Vancouver team. That's a fun way to open up next season. As for the game plan, let me know your guys' thoughts on who should start, who should sit. But one thing I will do is I'm going to give Rivers the starting power forward job over Jay Crowder. And I'm also going to give Omer Azzette minutes over Chris Dunn. We also need a center to come off the bench, so we're going to put in Plumlee and probably take out Chetty Osman. I want to start a more defensive guy in Josh Richardson in place of another third small forward, so we'll take him out of the lineup for now, and we'll spread these minutes out among these players. Also, I just realized that Bruce Brown is listed as a power forward at 6'4". That's probably not going to work. Jay Crowder is only 6'6", a power forward as well. I guess we can try and see what happens there. I do want to give Azzette plenty of playing time off the bench, so I'll go for like 18 minutes per game or somewhere around there. I want to give Turner the most minutes out of all starters. I want to give Rivers a good amount, like 28-ish. I'll give Wall some more. I will probably give the rest to Plumlee and Caruso. So right now, this is what I have, but I am obviously very open to changing this around and seeing what works. Well, we have a good balance here, I think. Heights off the bench might be an issue though, but we'll watch out for that. As for running plays, I'm going to increase this a lot higher, up to like 75, because we still don't have many guys who can make their own shots. So I think making plays and running plays will help out. I don't know about the playbook though. It's just like a random average team playbook. Might change it to some random team at some point during the season. We'll see about that. As for the offensive focus, I think I want to start off by playing through Miles Turner, just because he can do it all. And I think that looking to him for offense is probably a better idea than trying to get it from somebody else who can't make their own shot. So I think I'll make that change and stick with everything else that we had towards the end of last season as well. In terms of our system, out of all of the options here, defense has 2.5 stars, and that is the highest, tied with grit and grind. Now, Rivers does not fit any of these except for the triangle offense. Nothing else really fits him, and I don't want to do that. I do want to stick with a defensive identity, but if he's not playing well, and it's because of our system, or we just aren't playing well in general, we will probably have to look to switch things up here, especially if the offense can't get going at some point. As for assigning plays, I'm going to go through here and tailor this to each player, what they're best at. But I will show you guys the ones for Horace Rivers. He's going to take a lot of mid-range shots, so I'm going to put that as highest priority. And then I'll probably put post play as the next thing to get him better at that. Take more shots down low will get him better at that. So I'll do post up low first, and then I'll do post up high, and we'll start with this, and then we'll go from there. We might want to look more towards pick and roll man kind of situations to get better at that, but I'll start off with post up high and see how this starts us off. Aside from that, I'm going to be setting up player mentorship, the prep hub, the training schedule, and all of that individual training stuff on my own between now and the next video. So next episode, I will have all of that done at that point, but I'm going to call it here. Again, here is our current game plan, but if you guys want to change my mind in the comments, then comment down below and I will go along with what most people are talking about. I think right here is probably our best option. We do need Plumlee and Turner to both play. We need a Zet to get minutes if he's going to reach his potential, and we need Rivers to start. Aside from that, I'm kind of open here to any options for starters, for backups. Anything you guys want to see, I will probably do. So until the season opener at home against the Memphis Grizzlies, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like the video, subscribe, and please comment all of your thoughts about this video and the entire offseason down below. Tell me what you thought, what I could have done better, what I did well, and I'll see you guys in the opener. All that being said, take care and go Woodsmen.